along with the games, what's some kind of stuff for peripherals? We'll start with you, Ben. What would you recommend?
Well, I'm going to actually ask Jen for some help on this one. The thing that I would recommend is something that is absolutely awesome. It's called a note board. Yeah, there we go.
Yay!
The person who created this.
Mine.
I inadvertently stole this idea from Jen as well. I managed to jump on here before she had a chance. What it basically is it's a whole bunch of note cards laminated together. What that gives us, though, is as designers, as game masters, as people running in a game, as writers, authors, is an absolutely amazing tool that you can quite literally shove in the back pocket of your jeans and walk around with. It folds up into a 3.5 by 5 inch note card size pile, and then you open it up. It can be a map because it is scored with hexes and whatnot. Not hexes, with squares. It can be a prototype game board. It can be anything you need it to be. And it's dry erase, which means that you can just erase the damn thing when you're done with it and start over. I personally use it all the time when I'm developing new card games or board games, because rather than put together this cheesy-looking thing, with some Sharpies on a piece of paper and telling people who are helping me test this thing out, oh, imagine this 5 times bigger, or imagine this in 2 pieces or whatnot. Pull this thing out, write on it, put a bunch of cubes on it, boom, you're done. If you need to change something, you just erase it and move on. Same thing with the dungeon. You want to reveal your dungeon a little bit at a time, but you can just draw it as you're going. If you don't actually have a dungeon in front of you, or a map or what have you, and you want your players to think that you've come up with this thing ahead of time, you can use the same tactic. You can just sort of draw it as you go. Your players will never be the wiser, I guarantee it. So this thing has been around for a while. It's like $13, $13.50 off the website. It's incredibly cheap. It's a pretty awesome thing to give to somebody who is involved in any portion of our hobby. Even write, you write columns of ideas down, draw arrows, do what you need to do. When you're done with that portion of it, erase it and start again. So I'm going with the note board.
Nice. Jen, what about you? What are some things? What's a thing?
Yeah, so the thing that I put in there are these super cute little crystal gem counters, which I recently purchased the book of the RPG game Apillion, which calls for like a bunch of little gem things. And I was like, hey, these are little, and now I want to buy them. Now, you were like, oh, the gift you want to receive, and I want to just copy that again. Like a little plastic gem hoard, right? Because
Nice.
we always need counters.
All right, so from Ralph, and I do want to warn you that the Letter Forms dry erase notebook, while it looks super keen, I am seeing that it's out of stock when I went to the website. But it's a dry erase notebook, useful for GMs and players to make notes. There are a few varieties out there, but his favorite is Letter Forms. It erases clean without ghosting and is even forgiving of the times someone will inevitably grab a Sharpie instead of a dry erase pen. I've never been guilty of that.
I have a trick for that.
You do? What's your trick?
I do. Okay, so on a dry erase board, if you ever accidentally use a Sharpie, let it dry, give it a little bit of time, draw over it with a dry erase marker. You will then be able to wipe the Sharpie clean. Sometimes you have to repeat it 2 or 3 times if the Sharpie's been on it for like a month or a year. But then you can draw a semi-permanent grid and dry erase everything, dry erase, but then you can still get the Sharpie off by coloring over it.
Oh man, that beats what happened last time I did that. I went over the entire thing with whiteout.
That sounds really dumb.
Yeah, that's me.